We're back with another edition of the Lowe Down presented by Lexus. It is a show, if you've never seen it before, where these guys turn the table. They have questions that they throw at me. I get 30 seconds to answer them. I don't know what they are. I never talk for 30 seconds, so good luck. Robbie's got the first one.
Okay, who's more responsible for the performance kind of inconsistencies at Manchester United, the manager or the players?
Who's more responsible? Yeah. So they can both be responsible, but in terms of moral, has to go down to the manager. Absolutely has to, because ultimately he is the fall guy. Ultimately he is in charge. So yes, I know you're talking about Anthony Martial and Marcus Rashford mostly from yesterday's game where they were really poor. But ultimately he and Tim made a really good point this weekend about when he came in and everyone was saying he was a disciplinarian and he disciplined Ronaldo, basically got him out the club. That should have been the marker that he put down. It's such a good point that Tim made. And after that, there shouldn't have been any more discipline problems. Well, there's been tons, which tells me that he hasn't got a control of that dressing room. He has to take the blame. I'm not a fan of Martial or Rashford's kind of lack of effort either this weekend, and certainly Rashford all season and Martial all of his career. But for me, Erik ten Hag has to take it.
Okay. Stick with managers. Whose seat is hotter? Steve Cooper at Forest or Paul Heckingbottom at Sheffield United?
Well, I'm kind of baffled that Paul Heckingbottom is still in a job. They've lost by 5 or more goals 3 times this season. They're on pace to concede 105 goals, which would be, I think, a Premier League most ever. They lost 8-0 already. The biggest one for me is they lost to their biggest struggling rivals in Burnley by 5 goals to 0. Mm-hmm. I know they went down to 10 men, but how is he still in a job? Because there's zero progression and nothing's going to change. Mm-hmm. So you've got to, at some point, make a change for the hope that a managerial change will simply change some fortunes. Mm-hmm. I'm just not sure that the owners at Sheffield United look at the team and think another manager's going to come in and be able to get enough out of them. So they might as well go down with Heckingbottom and then come back up with him. So having said all that, I think Steve Cooper's seat is hotter. Only because I feel like if he's not fired after losing to Burnley, Heckingbottom, he ain't getting fired. Yeah. So I have to go with Cooper. Although Marinakis loves him, hates him, loves him, hates him, I got to go Cooper, even though I don't want him to be fired.
Next question. Is Arsenal flying under the radar this season?
I think a little bit. A little bit, and it's all down to the fact they're not playing like they were last season, which is absolutely fine, by the way, because they're top of the league, and then they're top of the league by 2 points. 2 points. So I think if you're an Arsenal fan, you want them to be flying under the radar. And if you're Arteta and if you're the players, that is all absolutely fine. The quieter Arsenal go about their business, the better it is for them. What they have learned clearly from last season is that they were so on the radar, over the radar, whatever it was, because they were playing amazing football. They were however many points clear at times. They were top for 248 days. None of that in the end matters. In fact, sometimes that can be to your detriment. So I think it's perfectly placed right now for Arsenal to be slightly under the radar. That is exactly where they want to be. Tim.
The topic that you gave us all weekend long, Ange Postecoglou, Ange Ball.
I know.
Should Ange be more willing to adapt his style?
So this is so interesting because I would say, as a completely untrained eye, non-footballer, ex-footballer, yes, because surely flexibility and adaptability in football as a player and a manager is what you want. Surely you have to be able to try and play games in different ways. But both of you are adamant that he absolutely shouldn't change the way he plays. He then went to Etihad today and got a point in a 3-3 draw. What?
You can be flexible, but how much flexibility in terms of style of play? Would you change your style of play at times against tough teams?
Maybe not entirely, but possibly at times in the game. But I don't know if that's confusing to players to suddenly go switch in and out. So this is why I sit in this chair and you two sit in this chair.
OK, last question. It's a softer question here. What does it feel like to be sitting next to a Hall of Famer?
I mean, can we take a moment? Can we take a moment? He got a bit emotional yesterday, which then got, I think, even Mustoe had a little glisten in his eye, and I was struggling to hold it together. That was a lovely moment. It's brilliant, isn't it, that Mr. Tim Howard is in the Hall of Fame, the National Soccer Hall of Fame. We got to announce it yesterday. Absolute legend. We get to sit on this desk with every week, and we got to go through his entire career yesterday. He was doing 1 million interviews. He's been all over the place, all over social media, and rightly so, because that is a special achievement. Robbie and I, fingers crossed, will make it one day.
I'm not sure we will.
I don't think so either. Thank you, chaps. Don't forget, on our NBC Sports YouTube channel, we have all of our original content. Probably update the 2 Robbies, the tactics session, and this show, The Lowe Down, as well. Thank you for watching The Lowe Down, presented by Lexus. Hi there. Rebecca Lowe, studio host for NBC's coverage of the Premier League. Don't forget to hit subscribe to watch more videos all season long. And for even more Premier League content, from original series to live matches, head over to Peacock. And be sure to tune in for Premier League mornings every weekend on USA Network and on Peacock. We will see you there.